Hi guys, thanks for joining me. My name's Zoe Arthurs from Business Basics, and I thought as it's a new year, hopefully that you are thinking about perhaps a new you and a new career change, that we just cover some very basic forms of CV writing. Now, just to give you a bit of an update and some sort of guidance on CV writing. I actually set up my own CV writing company when I was on maternity leave with my two young children. I've written really high level CVs for some of the country's most successful people. They are after sort of six-figure sums in terms of their salary. So it's a little bit different to a normal CV writing workshop. I'm not going to tell you what to put, but I am going to introduce you to two different styles of CV writing so that you're able to identify which one you think will suit you. So this is all about making you absolutely fabulous. CV writing is an art, and it's about you being able to sell yourself, which even for people that work in sales, they find it really difficult to do. So it's just about you being able to identify your skill set, your successes, and hopefully putting those down to paper. So we're going to cover the different components of a CV, and I'm just going to skim over those just for those of you that aren't aware. We're going to talk about suitable language, and we're going to look at some specific buzzwords, and we're going to understand how different styles of CVs are actually structured, just so that you're able to identify which you think would suit your job role, whether you're going for a creative role, whether you're looking for something which is really quite hard hitting, or whether you would feel more comfortable with a sort of standard version, if you like, so the standard run-of-the-mill CV. So there's two options. Now, I've obviously used Mickey Mouse, so I'm just sticking with the Disney theme here. Now, as you can see, the first part of the CV, when you look at it, it's not particularly eye-catching. This is what I would call a standard CV. So you start with a very basic layout. You may have a large header with your name, address and contact details, which is obviously one of the most important parts of your CV. But then it moves on to your personal profile. Now, what's really important to note about a personal profile is it is personal to you. I can't tell you how many CVs I have read from particularly high-end sort of managers and leaders within the country who all say the same thing. They all use words like, I am a hardworking, enthusiastic, trustworthy individual. Now, if you're an employer, that's great, but actually that's not necessarily what I'm looking for. So in the personal profile, you want to be writing in the second or third person. So you can see here that we've used words like positively energetic, highly skilled, tenacious, and then we've said what we're able to go on and do. You're talking about yourself as if you don't know you. Okay, so you're really selling yourselves. Now, employers on average look at per CV between 3 and 5 seconds, and the first thing they're going to see is that personal profile. So it really is worth you spending a moment and almost taking yourself out in an out-of-body experience, if you like, and just trying to write about yourself as if you were someone else. Or if you find that really uncomfortable, perhaps you want to get them to write a personal profile for you, and then you can adapt it. Now, just moving down the CV, you can see it's very black and white. There's not a lot happening. And if I said to you it'd be a little bit boring perhaps in terms of, you know, if this was in a stack of CVs, which if you can imagine, on average between 30 and 35 applicants apply for each job role in this country at the moment. If this was to be in the stack, it's not really going to stand out. However, it is a prescribed format that is used by recruitment agencies, and this is just a standard method, if you like. So moving on from your personal profile is obviously your key skills. So here you want to be able to identify what your key things are. What is it that you can do that meet the employer's requirements? Now, your CV shouldn't be a one-trick pony, okay? So it shouldn't fit all job roles. And you're going to need to adapt your CV to every single job description or person specification that you apply for. It's not a generic document. It should be there to meet the requirements of the recruiter based on the skills you have. So have a look through that personal profile of the job description and the person specification, and just check and highlight some of the keywords they're looking for, and then use that in a triangulation method and put that into your CV. Now, employment history is obviously really important, and you'll see that actually this CV goes on for 2 or 3 pages, and that's absolutely fine. Ambitious individuals quite often will move companies every 2, 3 years sometimes, but it's important that really you just stick to the most recent, so the most recent being sort of 10 years, if you like. And again, it's not a job description of what you did there. It's about the key successes that you achieved. It's about the key responsibilities you had and the skills that you gained from those with evidence. Okay, so that's the important part. It's about providing evidence to a future employer of the skills and qualities that you have gained on previous experience. So be sure to include obviously most recent first, what the job title was, and just a few bullet points on each, and try and keep it quite even as to how many bullet points for each job you're going for. So if we have a look, you can see that this continues. This person has a wealth of experience in project management, in banking, and that's absolutely fine because it's showing breadth. Now, what you will find as you come to the sort of end of your CV is actually the bullet points you're just repeating. And what you don't want it to be is almost like a humdrum, boring repeat of what you've done. You're wanting to identify key qualities and key skills that you've gained from each individual job role. And that's what will set you apart. So after you've got your employment, then you want to include your additional training. So perhaps you've done some CPD, that continued professional development, which has helped you along the way, and perhaps then your education. So where you studied your degree, what the grade was, because obviously a first class degree is far more desirable than a 2-1, for example. If you did get a 2-1, absolutely fine, or a 2-2, then I would just omit to not putting that grade on there, okay, just so that you don't actually do yourself out of the market. So list your education and then your hobbies and interests. People often make the mistake by putting socialising down as a hobby or an interest. That's not a hobby or an interest. What people are looking for here is team players. They want you to integrate within their current working environment, and they want to show that actually outside of work you do have additional skills and how those are used. So just be mindful of the things that you do put down and something like that. And then at the bottom, you know, be proud. Your references are available on request. You can have them from any of our employers. Just pick one and do so by saying that. So that's moving on. That's our sort of standard CV, and that's a recruitment sort of preferred format, if you like. And I'm going to move on and show you a completely different one. And the method that I use, and this has never let me down, this is one that I have used for people who have been chasing sort of 6-figure salaries and have got into some of quite sort of really competitive job roles using this CV. It's completely different, so see what you think. So my message when it comes to CV writing is be absolutely bold and stand out. Okay, so you can see if I just flick between the two, that's your standard version, and this is my version. It's adding colour. Now, what I've done here is I have basically pulled all key detail and I've added different shading. Now, navy is a really strong power colour in business, as we know. Navy suits are quite often preferred within the corporate world. And this CV, if it was in a stack of, you know, sort of 30 job applicants, all with a standard format, you can see that this would actually catch the eye of the recruiter. Now, even if that means that this CV would just be pulled out because that it promotes curiosity, and that's what you're trying to do. You are saying to other people in that stack of paper, through sort of using your writing ability, that you want this job. You are going to stand out. You are a standout candidate, and this CV is what's going to get you that new job. So you can see that I've used headlines such as top performing curriculum team leader, hands-on experience in business development. So I've really tailored those top 2 lines to the job roles that this particular applicant is looking for. And I've matched that to the job description and person specification. I've then gone on to use my second and third person writing skills. So I've then provided a really succinct personal profile, and I'm really selling myself here, okay? I've used a big capital A. I am an outstanding curriculum leader. I am tenacious. I believe that I am what you're looking for, and this is what this CV is telling you. I've got some various specialisms. Here are some of them. Bash, bish, 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 bash, bosh. They're all written down. Is this what you're looking for? And again, adapt those specialisms in the same way you would with the key skills to make sure that they are matching what the job requirements are asking you for. So then I've gone on to my professional experience, and in the sort of highlighted blue box, I'm just talking about my key successes. So maybe I've won a particular contract, maybe I've gained particular skills that I think would really impress my employer. And that's what goes in that box. It's just a couple of sentences. This is what I've done, this is what I've achieved, and this is how I'm going to help you move your business forward. So I then move down, I've got some bullet points, I've given it some key headings. Again, I've linked that to the person specification and the job description. So when you have those headings in there, I've used those headings and I've told them exactly how I've met those particular points of criteria for that job based on my previous experience. And I've followed that all the way through the CV. Now, something that's a little bit different about this CV as well is the fact that I've actually included a reference. So you can get these from your LinkedIn profile if you have one of those. So I have provided one of the references that a previous person had provided this particular candidate, and it's just adding strength to the CV. It's just saying that, look, okay, so I can say that I am all these wonderful things. That's fantastic. But actually it's being supported by this individual who's also been impressed with my attitude, my reputation, the qualities and the skills that I brought to their particular business. So that's really important as well, and it just adds extra depth. So again, this CV goes on to sort of 2 or 3 pages where this individual has stayed at a company for a really short period of time. You know, it's not always necessary to provide bullet pointed lists in terms of the arrows that I've provided on this CV. As you can see, the middle one is just sort of a brief outline, but it's continuing the flow and the colour of the document. So as previously, they've then included their education and the list of qualifications based on the order that they've achieved them. And it's really important here to never stop learning. So if you are working towards a qualification, perhaps even if it's an online free qualification, that you actually list that on your CV as working towards. It shows you're continuing to invest in yourself and you believe that your growth will continue and help your future employer develop their business also. ICT proficiency has been included on here only because quite often when you're going for high level jobs, as this particular candidate was at the time, they found that actually IT skills were lacking. Now in education, I know because I work in education, IT skills are really paramount. So sometimes you may change that. It could be, for example, if you're going on to do project management, perhaps project management proficiency, and you'd explain the different types of software that you've used there. And then again, any additional information. So this could be your interests or your hobbies, or just things that you could talk about in your interview, which would make you stand out and be a little bit different. So it's not all about meeting the requirements of the job. It is about you as an individual and you showing your own growth, your own development, and how those skills are going to meet the employer. So why not be bold? Why not be brave? 20 seconds of courage will allow you to change the way your CV currently reads and hopefully, I believe, help you in reaching that all-important career goal in the very near future. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.